Who's your favorite character and why?
Connor.
Connor. As obviously, Connor.
The Connor army.
It has her going, my name is Kara, and then all of a sudden we met Marcus, then we met Connor, we were going like, who are these people?
Who the fuck are they? I know.
They're the characters that matter.
Right. She's a woman. We don't have time for that shit. I wasted so much time and effort and energy on that lying little shit.
And then you got to the part where you could turn off her heat detection thingy.
Because literally, if she was just
that
straight...
pissed me off. Unexplained psychic power to hack other androids. They said, we need blue blood and biocomponents. We can't just walk into a CyberLife store. Well, you could go to the goddamn junkyard. There's parts everywhere.
I think I saw that too.
Simon gets shot on the roof. I can't move my legs. I'm like, take them off.
Or take off your head. We'll get you another body.
Right? Hi guys, this is a Buns Buddy podcast. I haven't done this in a long time. And you guys probably recognize my friend here, the Exiled Draco. I've been calling him Draco, but he prefers to be called the Exiled, right? The Exiled Draco?
The Exiled Draco, Exile, or yeah, pretty much.
Or Exile.
Exile, oh no. It came to me in a dream.
And another guest is his lovely fiance, Cait.
Hi guys.
And I haven't really met her yet, so this is totally new, and I'm so happy to finally quote unquote meet you.
It's lovely to be here.
When did you guys meet?
That's like 7 or 8 years ago.
So 7 years ago, yeah.
7 years ago.
Wow, that's a long time. So why are we here?
Why are we here? We're not going to go that far into detail.
No, I meant what's our podcast about?
Our podcast is about Detroit Become Human. You as a rabid fan and me as a rabid anti-fan. No, I'm kidding. No. The game itself.
Pros and cons.
As a game, I give it a solid 7 or 8. As a narrative, it's a 2.
Narrative can use work, I agree. There's going to be a lot of things I agree on about Detroit, and there's things that I would probably... I don't know if you would notice because you haven't played it nearly as much as I have. I
played it enough, then I just stopped.
You probably had to. Yeah, I just wish you could skip cutscenes, and I wish there were more checkpoints.
Yeah, we're trying to fill out those maps. We played a lot of like replays of different scenes.
Do you know how far you've gotten percentage-wise?
Oh no, probably not even 50%.
Yeah, no, there was a lot we didn't do.
I feel like what we did was first we did a let's play with the three of us. Me, this is Chris and Cait, or this is Chris, Cait, and I, whatever grammar we want to use for Nazis. And then I watched Bagheera going behind the video game shelf. Bagheera, what are you doing?
That's his cat, by the way.
He's just climbing all over the shelf ever since we moved the TV on top against the wall. Anyway, so we did our playthrough. Then I wanted to play it again going by my choices. Even if I knew some of them were the same that we made, I wanted to go, this is what my choices were. Then Cait played her playthrough. And then I just dicked around a little and did my playthrough to find out what it's like with Connor going to CyberLife without Hank. And then we just stopped playing. Other games came out.
Yeah, it goes without saying there's gonna be spoilers, big time spoilers. So just be prepared for that, and hopefully, if you don't want to see spoilers yet, you can always watch his Let's Play. I'll put a card or a link and whatever just so that you can see what we're talking about. But we're definitely gonna have spoilers here because we have a lot to talk about. The experiences we had with the game. Yeah, the experiences we had, whether they were good and bad. And the things that, like, the pet peeves we have with this game, because we do have a lot. We always do with these David Cage games, but I still think this is the best one that's been ever published by Quantic Dream.
Well, yeah, because as a game, it does its job and actually makes choices matter.
Exactly.
And it was a lot of fun.
Most of them. Pretty much. But I've completed 100% all the flowcharts except for the last 2 chapters, which are the longest ones because each character has their own branch of flowcharts, because it's like, depending on which options you do, each of them have their own like sub endings is what I call them, and I've seen probably 60% of them, so there's still a lot to do for the last. It's insane how many friggin' flowcharts.
Sing and the world loves you.
Oh, that one. So what he's talking about is like there's an iconic scene where the army closes in on our heroes, and you get the option
Quote
to do a
unquote
few
heroes.
things. Our heroes, yeah, or they actually might not be heroes depending on your choices. They could be the villains. The villains are cornered, or the heroes, by the army, and you get to choose to either kiss the girlfriend if you chose to be his girlfriend, and most of us probably didn't because she's a bitch. We're talking about North. Fuck North. Fucking I can't stand that bitch. I'll get to that in a minute. You have the option to kiss her, put your hands in the air, wave them like you just don't care. No, you stand there and do nothing. I did that one recently, and guess what happened? Bang, 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 bang! They just shot them all dead.
What? And Cait, weren't you the one that suggested the fire one because you didn't know what exactly it meant?
Yeah.
And then also we just see Marcus set himself on fire,
On
like
fire! That was the last one I saw.
and then
recently. I
the
was like,
soldiers
what the
wiped
fuck
out the
was
rest.
that?
Like what was that supposed to accomplish?
Some
people-
kind of Jesus symbolism.
And that might have been back when, like you said, there used to be a bug where like some of the things were getting locked out or something like that. That might have been back because people said, regardless what you choose, it also mostly matters how the people feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Cait's playthrough, she went protest. She didn't go havoc that when she chose that one. I think that's what you did. Like that, yeah. So the public saw like Marcus and doing the good thing. She did the sacrifice, and the army still wiped out the rest. So maybe that was a glitch back then, or maybe that's just how it is. Regardless, I don't know.
Oh, I think it depends on public.
That's what I'm saying. And her
public opinion.
Yeah, and her
if it's
public
low.
No, and her
or
public
neutral.
opinion was high. And yet they
But
still.
if you do, I think I know why. If you do the wait, did you do the one where they're holding up a barricade, or did you do the one where they try to fight and save the androids from the recall center?
Do you remember what you did before you set Marcus on fire?
Like, were they setting up a barricade, and then that's when that Perkins asshole said, "I want to talk to you, Marcus"? Or was this the one where they're running with a flag and they're about ready to fight?
No, I think it was the first one.
Okay,
Barricade.
if that's the case, I think depending on how many humans had died, it's like there's like a count up of each time.
You shot the guy that was
humans
in the tower trying to run away, didn't you? In that playthrough.
that'll put the. Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, I think I did because I remember it was not beneficial with you guys leaving him because then he went and got reinforcements, and I wanted to keep Simon alive.
Yeah. So that was it. Even though she went on the more protest thing, she still shot that guy.
That might have been it.
That'll fuck up public opinion quite a bit because if there's any casualties with their message, they're not going to trust the androids hardly at all. But there is ways to get the public opinion back up, mainly doing the sacrifice option. I've learned a lot and I've read guides, but there is a way to keep Simon alive without shooting that guy.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is leave him behind and just make sure Connor doesn't find him on the roof.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't find him, then he'll escape.
I found that during mine. I had Connor go to the roof, and all of a sudden I was just following I'm like, whose footprints are these?
Right? I was thinking the same thing. Huh? Who's that? Whose footprints are these?
And then all of a sudden Simon popped out. I was like, oh shit! He's alive!
He was like in a locker or something.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool though, with the way Connor was like, I felt like I died or something. Like but that was the only one I saw.
Connor was shooketh.
Shooketh. He was very shooketh. So who's your favorite character and why?
Connor.
Okay,
because
Connor.
obviously Connor.
The Connor army. I think I know why everybody likes Connor. It's not just his personality. I think it's because his parts of the game are the most fun.
Yeah,
They are
me
detective
and Kate
stuff.
were even saying at dinner an hour ago, they were saying if the game was just simply like another cop story between Connor and Hank and just built it around that, it would have been much more entertaining. Like you could.
I think so too.
They could have easily started similar plots with a Marcus like android going crazy, but not play as Marcus. Just have him be a character, and Connor has to go after him or choose to whatever. It just felt like the stronger narrative was with Connor, and the funniest part is how much behind the scenes did you go into? Did you look up?
Behind the scenes, I think I've just seen the basic stuff that was on the game and just a couple videos on YouTube, but it looked like they ad-libbed a lot.
Yeah, and
that's probably why it was so natural and flowing, and that's why their chemistry was so good.
And the funniest part is the actor for Connor has said like numerous times that David Cage would actually get upset with them when they ad-libbed. but they kept
I
it in.
figured he would. He's a perfectionist in his own way. Like, his vision has to be his vision. I knew.
I would like to know who was the one that told David Cage to back off with that part, because obviously David Cage is the writer and director, so whatever he says goes, but somehow these ad-lib scenes still made it into the game, despite him getting up going, "No, don't do that!" That was a horrible French
he reminds
accent.
me of Paul Verhoeven.
Who's that?
He's the guy who, he directed a few really good movies and at least a couple train wrecks. He directed, like, RoboCop, he directed Total Recall, but then he also directed Showgirls and Starship Poopers, but I actually love that movie. But he's very, very meticulous about not letting actors do any of their own thing. It has to be his vision, and he's,
Wait,
from Germany or some
RoboCop and
shit.
Total Recall, you're talking about the remakes, right?
No, the originals.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to figure out what you meant by train wrecks. I'm like, those two movies were awesome!
No, the train wrecks I'm referring to mainly is Showgirls. He also directed Basic Instinct, but he directed Starship Poopers is not a bad movie. It's just so fucking campy, but it actually is ahead of its time. It didn't have a warm reception.
Ahead of its time. Starship Troopers came out today. SJWs would riot.
Well, that's my point. It was the movie is a satire of propaganda. And people didn't understand that at the time. They thought it was just really corny. But yeah, true. It'd be torn apart these days, especially because of the whole, like, the guy who plays Rico is supposed to be from fucking Buenos Aires, South America or some shit. And it's just some white dude named Casper. And his buddy was supposed to be a guy named Dizzy, but they changed Dizzy into a love interest, a beautiful white woman love interest. Big no-no. But anyway, back
to Detroit.
I digress. Back to Detroit. So yeah, David Cage reminds me of, like, Paul Verhoeven meets George Lucas, because he'll come up with good concepts, but he cannot write a script to save his own life. Like, when he writes something like...
we were talking about doing this, I mentioned how me and Chris said David Cage should make concepts and someone else should be the writer.
He had multiple writers, but they wrote, apparently they wrote over, 3,000 pages of scripts, because they had to do all those different branches or something. But I can only imagine the amount of effort, but I still think the reason David Cage's writing doesn't really work, at least for us, American audience, is because his I believe, I don't know whether it's true, but I think his research that he uses in his games is all based on watching corny ass Hollywood films. He copies the cliches.
Yeah,
he thinks they're cool, but they're actually very not cool. They're incredibly predictable and stupid.
Well,
at least in America.
The thing is, he also doesn't really go, like, even the smaller details, like something I don't know if I said it during our Let's Plays, but I know I definitely said it to Cait at least once when I was playing it. So it could have been during our Let's Play. I mentioned how, why the hell is there, like, a standalone toilet bathroom in the upstairs, and then there's a full-on bathroom right down the hall.
Okay,
and you find out that apparently that's a thing in Europe, but that's not a thing in America at all.
That's funny that you say that, because that's something I think I pointed out in my Let's Play. That's what's referred to as a water closet or a half bathroom, and guess who has that exact same kind of bathroom in their house? I do. I literally have a little tiny closet-sized bathroom in my house that just has a toilet and a sink and a like a medicine cabinet with another cabinet, and it's like really small, and they're referred to as half bathrooms. I just think it's mostly
is it down the hall from a complete bathroom?
Yeah, it's on the opposite side of the house, and it's weird. It connects to this is really weird architecture in this old house from the 50s. I think that's what old houses had different architecture, and that it connects to the kitchen and the laundry area. Like, it's really strange.
What a weird way of sharing water.
Was I surprised at that too, or was it just...
No, you said you seemed to feel that was normal.
Yeah, I thought so, because I understood that was a legitimate thing, especially in Europe, I guess, because I did study abroad in Berlin, Germany for a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, but I totally knew that was definitely a thing. We never had lived in a place like that. So.
No, I've never seen that. I've seen places with multiple bathrooms, sure. I've never seen one where one bathroom is just down the hall. I was like, what the?
Speaking of bathrooms, have either of you ever, anybody in the comment section either, have ever been to a public building where the restrooms have a sign that says bathroom? That I've never seen in my life. I've been to Canada and I've seen washroom, never bathroom. It's always restroom.
Yeah,
where ladies, gentlemen, men. but never bathroom. Sorry, in that building with the news broadcast thing, when he goes to change into his disguise. By the way, did you notice it was floor 47? Kind of like Agent 47, kind of like God. Hitman. Very not subtle. It's even not subtle because there's a scene where Connor, when he goes into CyberLife, the building, Agent blah blah blah, Agent Connor, Agent 47, recognized. I'm like, motherfucker, you're doing it again.
Go figure, so since like literally this is
they
Chris.
Copy all the different games.
Since literally this is Chris wants me and him to do our Let's Play of Hitman next.
I really fucking suck at Hitman games. I'm terrible. I'm stealth, disguises, all that shit. Even just trying to strangle somebody, I can't do any of that without fucking up. I'm just not good at those games. But
like that would be a cool thing if it was like a Connor standalone game. Like you could make a choice if you. That would have been another interesting thing. Like if it was a standalone Connor game. Like if there could have been a scene where he could be stealthy in an approach or full on attack the place.
That would have been cool, and I kind of would have loved to see some kind of like good versus evil Connor. You know, maybe a DLC would be cool with like.
Oh my god, I think you and I mentioned the
𝐸900.
fanfictions would go crazy if the Connor at CyberLife was the 𝐸900 with the white suit and all that.
That fucking suit that goes up to makes his neck look like 3 times longer.
Exactly. I think when me, Chris, and Cait beat the game, and that was like our Connor ending. Like Kara, like you know, got like survived. Marcus died, and Connor was replaced or like was being decommissioned. The second we saw 𝐸900, we just all three looked at his neck. We're like, is he
what the fuck?
Like, is he? Is he Batman? Can he turn his head?
I only noticed he has he's taller and he has blue eyes. And you know what's weird? Usually blue eyes will make someone look cuter, but I think Connor's brown eyes gives him more of a puppy dog kind of expression. The blue eyes made 𝐸900. Yeah, the blue eyes made him look more steely, more like not nice, so to speak.
Remember when you said like Connor needs to have like dog or something like that, and I looked it up, and also we just saw all the dog like Connor cosplays.
It's true, because he is kind of like a little puppy.
Okay, I'm gonna have to point something out here. I looked up their name. This is actually really interesting. So their names have meanings that are significant. They're not just random
different characters.
Names. Yeah, Connor is a name with Irish and Scottish origins. The main one of them is Lover of Hounds. Lover of Hounds. He says, I like dogs. What's your dog's name? Strong Desire. That's basically what it's like, a word for strong desire. So he has like a desire to be more human, I believe. I think that's what they were going for. It also means like wise. I kind of looked at the 3 characters of Marcus, Kara. I almost said Kara. Jesus Christ. It's Kara. Why did everybody pronounce it Kara? It's Kara. Kara and Connor and Marcus are kind of like the Triforce, if you will. Power, wisdom, courage. Which I think, who would be? Maybe Kara would be courage.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely. I would definitely agree with that.
Would you say and I think like Marcus would be power, which leaves.
Well, why wouldn't Marcus be?
Marcus would be power.
Marcus would be power.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then Connor is wisdom because he gains the wisdom of humanity. I don't know. I think that's just a happy accident.
Yeah, depending on playthrough. But that's also something I've noticed. Like, the game's called Detroit Become Human, and the only one who, depending on choice, obviously, the only one who really becomes human
is Connor.
Like, you could say Kara if you want, but in the end, mostly it's just her just trying to survive, not really become human or stay android. She's just trying to survive, really.
That kind of pissed me off because the whole game was created by like the Kara short film.
Yeah.
And it made it look like she would be like the pinnacle. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, the pinnacle character. Like even the trailer that said, "Yeah, this is actually going to become a game, guys." It has her going, "My name is Kara," and then all of a sudden we met Marcus, then we met Connor. We're going like, "Who are these people?
Who the fuck are they?" I know.
They're the characters that matter.
Right. She's a woman. We don't have time for that shit.
She's a woman. She just needs to have short hair for David Cage's short hair fetish and move on.
It's like, I guess we should give her a little bit of limelight.
I seriously think he does have a thing for like women that are like small-chested.
I'm gonna say this.
Pixie cuts. Like they have to look prepubescent.
Yeah, I'm gonna say
even
this.
Though they're almost 30.
I'm gonna say this. And I'm gonna remind you something real quick. I'm gonna say this. Something that I've noticed with David Cage is his women are always have to have short hair at least once, if not throughout the whole game, and every pig pervert, degenerate, murderer, rapist is always a fat dude.
A fat dude with facial hair,
Yeah.
a beer gut, hairy arms, and rich. Rich people are apparently inherently evil.
But I thought he was broke.
No, yeah, no, he's not. Yeah, no. So I guess
Well,
not.
no, it's
not-
like if they have to be if they're fat and rich, it's like a double.
There
it's a
we go.
double evil.
So what I was gonna-
if
so
they're
yeah.
fat, you're evil. If you're fat and rich, you're very, very evil.
So what I was gonna say was like, so I maybe I just didn't hear you, but what was the meaning behind Kara and Marcus? I heard Connor, but what was? I don't think you said Kara and Marcus.
Oh, for the names?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kara is a Latin, at least this is what I found. I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, somebody correct me.
This is the internet. We're always wrong.
Oh yeah, I know, I fucked up something in my Let's Play where I was trying to figure out what the fuck something new... It's like a weird term for something about the lung. I thought I knew my anatomy better. Somebody corrected me, thank you. Kara is like a Latin or Celtic or Italian origin name for beloved or the loved one, someone that is like a lover, someone who's beloved, but it's also like someone who loves others. It means like compassion, love.
Well,
the
that
lover.
explains a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like mainly her, like she is beloved
Yeah.
by Alice. So then you've got
Unless you're
Marcus,
a bitch.
Unless you're an absolute fucking bitch, which is pretty awesome that you can be. For the first time, I did a playthrough where I did not at any point be warm to Alice. I did everything I possibly could to make her dislike me, and then I ditched the little brat on the ship. And it was actually really fucked up because the ending, Luther takes off with her. We never see them again. That's
Nice.
one outcome. But then there's a scene where she's walking in the street and she sees a magazine of Alice.
Yeah, I
And then
saw that
she's
one.
like, she's guilt-ridden. I'm like, you have nothing to be feel guilty for. That little brat lied to you. Anyway, Marcus, which is actually my husband's name, but his is with a C. That's more traditional. It's Latin for the hammer or Mars, the harvester, the god of war, power. Like it's basically the Mars or the god of war. So
basically, what
Marcus
you're saying, the
is a
protest
derived-
path is the wrong path.
Probably. Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's kind of they all have a bit of a significance there.
That's awesome.
And there's somebody said something on Reddit, and I need to reread it a little bit because it's really fascinating. Somebody picked up something about animals in this game, like animal symbolism that seems to be significant. I can't quite figure out what the fuck the giraffes are about. I don't. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just David Cage recycling different models and different
Where
things.
was the
just
giraffes?
because
In his
Okay.
the dude's house.
Oh,
there's a big giraffe in the house, and there's a little giraffe on the windowsill
I
when you're
remember
washing dishes.
I remember the three of us were so confused, not by the giraffe, but by the staircase next to it.
Yeah, like the staircase you cannot go up. It's just for show.
And he
What the
just
hell?
stops at the little roof.
That was interesting. Oh, I know. Like maybe. Oh, you know what? He's an artist. Maybe he built the thing, and it's part of his display. Who the fuck knows? So there's a giraffe. There's like a little giraffe figurine on the windowsill when you're washing dishes, and there's a big giraffe in the
Painter's house.
the Carl's house. And then there's also other animals. There's like a fucking, what do you call it, an ostrich in Zlatko's house. But then again, there's all these magazine articles saying how almost all the exotic animals are endangered, or pretty much they are extinct, and that's why they have I keep saying robo, I mean to say androids, but fuck it. Robo animals like the robo polar bear.
Well, then again, isn't android like the definition is like a robot that's meant to be human? Or
Maybe, I don't
like-
know.
So
That's a
then,
good
I guess
question.
I guess you can't really call an animal android an android.
An animal droid.
Animal droid.
An animal droid.
Yeah, an anadroid.
Anadroid.
Anadroid's cool, I like that.
Yeah, so
well, I
they
know
can
they're
have
not
like whole
cyborgs.
zoos.
Yeah, the anadroid polar bear that does absolute shit.
Did you guys notice that when you play each character that the LED light of your PS4 controller
Oh yeah, that
changes
was
color?
I think that was like the first thing we noticed. Was that you?
Oh
who
really?
noticed it?
I don't know. I do remember I noticed the pad for the magazines. You can swipe on the pad itself to like thumb through them,
Oh.
which was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
I like
Kate
that.
loves the touchpad.
Innovative. So Marcus's color was red, and Kara's was like a light green, which I found strange, and then Connor's is
blue.
obviously blue. But if you watch the game also has a color scheme for each of them. Marcus's scenes all tend to be very warm color coded, like saturation. Kara is kind of neutral, but kind of yellowish, you know, like a warm but yellow. Maybe yellow for fear. And then Connor's is always cold and blue and steely, like there's always snow everywhere. You know, the other two characters, it tends to be raining. It's almost like the seasons too. And I also noticed some other things with color. I think they had an art director do this kind of stuff. This sounds like it would take a little too much brain power for David. I'm sorry.
Probably the other two writers.
I mean, I really enjoy his game, and I don't want to say just his game because he's not the only person who worked on it, but I'm noticing things that whether or not he was involved, I appreciate these little things because they actually look like they had a lot of effort put into them, and I actually would scenery in that game.
It definitely shows that like his games are always like, I guess like I use the word again, is like a pinnacle of like how much like, you know, graphics could be put into a game. It's just annoying when that's like one of the biggest credits he gets. It's like, okay, cool, the game looks pretty. What else you got?
That was Beyond Two Souls. I compared Beyond Two Souls to like dating a supermodel. She's really good looking, but has no personality, no brain, and no soul.
Oh my god.
I call it Beyond Two Bored, or no, Two Dulls. Beyond Two Dulls, because it's like. But there are parts of the game that I really like, and I thought the acting was almost perfect.
Especially after Heavy Rain.
Well, I mean the acting for Jodie and Willem Dafoe, up until he went full retard with the whole like, I'm gonna get my family back!
I have defeated death!
I've defeated death! You can't tell me what to do! I'm like, what the fuck? Did you just get on your man period? You're acting like an idiot, and then that's
best part... I want to say before we go back with Detroit, the best part is when me and Cait played the game, I was always Aiden, I was the ghost, she was Jodie.
Of course.
There's a part where I completely forget what happened like literally 20 seconds prior, when you're going to the submarine, and when Jodie starts taking the soldiers' clothes so they can like disguise themselves, I say, well, now you just leave them to freeze to death. Cait goes, they're dead. I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh god, did I tell you about the stupid scenario my husband and I were doing, and then I tried to edit it this way?
What?
You remember when Jodie's trying to escape, and she said, if I'm not back in blah minutes, leave without me, and Ryan takes the submarine, and then she comes back and she's like, Ryan, where the fuck are you? You remember that? And the fucking submarine comes out and he opens up the shaft or whatever. Yeah. Mark and I would just be like, how funny would it be if he opened up the shaft and just his bare ass just stuck out and he farts and then shuts it and leaves again. He just like,
later, bitch.
Later, bitch. Exactly.
That's what you get for taking my eyeball.
And that's the end of the game. That I've been trying to like superimpose a butt right there at a big fart. I'm very immature, by the way, in case you haven't noticed, Cait. I use fart noises constantly. I cannot not find them funny because I just have the maturity level of a 10-year-old.
It's all good.
I wrote a couple other things here. I'm trying to look. Like I was talking about my theories about Ra9.
Yes, Ra9.
I'd like to hear what you guys think first.
I think it was just another example of like David Cage wanted to sound cool, but didn't have anything to back it up, and just thought, I'll let the players decide. Yeah, that's it.
In all honesty, it's probably that. It's probably just that, and him just being lazy with the writing again. But I would like to think that because at the end of the day they are machinery, they are androids, that it was kind of like a virus, them becoming deviant, and that's just a common thing in the code or whatever was the Ra9. And that's just something that they all had in common when they did go deviant.
Like kind of like how when you get a certain blue screens, it'll show a random number, but to us humans, it's like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, and they become somehow obsessed with it, and that's why it's like written on the walls or wherever it was.
You want to know what I think?
No, not at all. Get out.
But it's also it's not the only. I'm not the only one who thinks this. But
no.
No, you don't say. But the thing is, it's really ambiguous, probably on purpose, because not only I don't think they really could finish figuring out what the fuck it's supposed to mean, so they just kind of said, you know what, let the players decide, which is so lazy. People in Japan don't do shit like this. They actually finish what they start. What is it about Americans and Europeans just half-assing everything when it comes to writing in video games? Anyway, Ra9, as far as what I could see from the little bits of that you get from Kamsky, or as Mark and I like to call him Poopsky. I don't know why we call him that. We're so stupid. Poopsky. So Mr. Poopsky, I believe that he created the Ra9 virus because he wanted to play God. He was like playing with the pieces, so to speak. So he figured, you know what? I want to see who's gonna win. I'm gonna make like before they said he left Cyberdyne. Cyberdyne. I knew I was gonna say Cyberdyne. I kept telling myself, don't say Cyberdyne.
Did that place get blown up?
Right. He left Cyberlife under mysterious circumstances, so we don't know why he left. But I got another theory about that that's pretty interesting, but I'll tell you about the Ra9 one. So I think that he created the virus to see if the androids become sentient, aka deviant, would they be able to conquer humanity? He obviously reveres his creations more than people. He's, he lives right across from the goddamn Cyberlife tower.
It's not like he's ready to have one get shot in the head.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of copies of Chloe. Probably has a big crush on her. I don't know if that's is she supposed to be a servant / sex bot. I wonder if they're all deviants anyway, because like the way they react in the swimming pool, like if you shoot her, they look away, kind of distraught.
No, they do that even
if you
if
don't
you don't
shoot her, they look around. They look away like, oh.
Yeah, they do the exact same thing either way.
I think they do, but I think I noticed that they have a slight different reaction because I played that scene
very
so many
subtle,
very
quiet reaction.
It's a little slightly different, but I could be wrong because I might be seeing what I want to see because I want to actually see slight differences. I might be delusional in some ways, but I believe he created the virus to see what would be the outcome, and he put the virus in his 2 prototypes, which would be Connor and Marcus. And Kara, fuck Kara. She doesn't even she doesn't have anything to do with the revolution. That kind of pisses me off. She's just basically on the run the whole time.
I have to say that that's like part of like if that ever was actually considered a thing, it would actually just get me more frustrated about the narrative because if you see if I don't know if you did, but I mean in general, if you watch the trailer that has like like some news crew following Kamsky through Cyberlife.
Yeah, I saw the whole video.
He's rather, down to earth. He's chill. He I mean, people say he has that ominous moment, like where he says "trust me," but still, he seems a rather chill guy. And then in the game, first off, his design is different. He doesn't even really look the same as he did in that video. Maybe it's just because he's shaved. I don't know.
This is my theory. I'll let you finish.
And he's like has this whole complex, like where he's just very, I don't know, very poetic and all that shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the fuck happened between that character short and the game? Like, why is he acting completely different from how what was the point of us seeing him act like that and then seeing him be a completely different character?
You want to know what I think?
Yes, please.
I think Kamsky created an android copy of himself.
Yeah,
and
people were guessing at the end. Yeah.
The copy killed him and took his place.
People were thinking he was an android in the trailer.
That would be so cool.
That would be cool, though. I mean, but I don't think that's the case.
I would be so satisfied with that.
I would be too, because he would be the first one to... I have all these different theories, and I think that's kind of cool because people can throw around all the theories they want. It's just like a movie that has an ambiguous ending. It's just not quite as creative as, say, the players are more creative. But, I think if Kamsky was, in fact, an android that took his place, it doesn't make a lot of sense that there's a scene where, unless it's just to emulate his behavior, there's a secret ending that you can get where you see Chloe giving him a drink of scotch or something, or whiskey. She goes, "Here's your whiskey, Elijah," and
he's overlooking the chaos.
He's overlooking the chaos, and I think he's disappointed. I think he's rooting for the androids, because if you look at his reaction when Connor doesn't kill Chloe, he looks like he's praising him. He's got a slight smirk on his face. He's like, "You showed empathy."
That was another thing
I'm proud of you.
That ticked me off. That part, I'm just in my playthrough, it was just simply I didn't shoot her because I'm just fuck the empathy part. It'd be simply, I don't want to play your game, jackass.
And that's what you can literally say to Amanda. I didn't want to play little game. I love that.
Yeah, but you can't say that to him. That's what annoyed me. It has Connor freak out, go, "I don't know why he didn't pull the trigger." It's I know why.
Right. We should have had the option to say, I didn't want to play by his rules. I didn't, and I thought it would have been
or just simply him turn around, blow one of Kamsky's head, and see blue blood, and go, wait a minute.
Yeah, that would have been a sick little twist ending there. Dude, I didn't even think of that. That's a cool one. My husband was actually saying, I wonder if you pull the trigger, if it's even like loaded. What if it's not loaded?
That was Chris's theory because like in our playthrough, he didn't pull the trigger, and that was his theory. He said, oh no, it wasn't Chris, it was me. I forgot. I'm giving Chris too much credit.
You do the same thing.
Chris didn't pull the trigger because he did have empathy and all that shit. But I said, I'm going to pull the trigger and watch. It's going to click and nothing's going to happen. Then when I found out, wait!
Oops! What was your reaction when he blew her head off?
I was like,
oh, no, menu girl's dead!
No, actually, do you really want to know my legit reaction because of how much of a cold bastard I am?
You were like, good riddance.
No, I went, how is there not that much of a mess on the floor?
Right.
Oh, hey, I was concerned about him wanting us to pay for that.
Right. He's so rich, though, and he's got all these copies, he's like, well, now you owe me a new Android, asshole. God damn it. But it's interesting. That's one of the only deaths where if you go to the main menu, Chloe doesn't say a goddamn thing.
Oh, like that's the one time she just looked at you with judging eyes.
Maybe, but it would have been cool if she at least gave you some kind of inkling that because if any other main characters die, she'll
like,
react.
How could you?
Like, you let Kara and Alice die. How could you do that? Oh, I'm so sad that Luther is gone. Marcus was our only hope. Like, stuff like that. She'll say this and that, this and that.
But if you shoot Chloe, she's like, oh, I see how
whatever.
It is, bitch.
Right, I think it would have been better if she had, even if she just looked at you strange, just like you said, if she just looked at you like, or even if she said like, I feel disconnected in some strange way. Anyway, back to my quotes, I don't know, she would have said something like that. I've never seen her say that game corrupted Easter egg. Have you ever seen that? I've never
I haven't seen it personally, but I have seen the video.
I wish I wanted her to say that, and the first playthrough I never heard her sing either. But now that I have the double, the one that they brought back, we didn't see her say
anything because we tackled it all on my birthday, all in one day. God help me, the game had to come out on my birthday. There's two instances, and the funny part, there are two instances where the number 28 comes up, and I was 28 years old when on my birthday.
It was great.
Chris was like, he's following you, Kyle. He sees you.
The game connects to me too because, Detroit is where my dad's half of my family is from. I first went to Detroit in 1994, and that's what the year was on that quarter. I don't know, just picking up little things, and there's so many things that remind me of my dad, fortunately, because, my dad passed away, but they keep saying shit like, my husband passed away 2 years ago, cancer, and 2 years ago, if dad was here, dad, and I'm like, God damn it, stop it!
Leave me alone, game, stop taunting me!
Stop fucking with my psyche and my heart.
Yeah, we didn't get the chance to see Chloe say anything except for the end after you beat the game because we just went full on through with the game. I think it took us 7 hours, and it could have taken us longer if we didn't kill Marcus.
That's it? Dude, you don't have. I think it took me 30 because I literally every single time I did something that I didn't think I didn't do right. I paused it.
Well, that was the point.
And went
each
back.
one of us, unless we were in a tight spot, which none of us really ever were. Each of us had our own choice for each character. None of us interfered with the other person's decision making.
Oh yeah, didn't Marcus die really soon?
Yeah, because I didn't know he was about to get killed. Because what happened was, and I'm gonna bring this up now, just like his bingo game, powers come out of nowhere. There was no explanation for how he was able to convert other androids, and Cait can attest to this. When we were at the factory and we're holding John back, when we heard I need your help, all three of us thought that was John talking, not Marcus talking telepathically. Well, okay, not telepathic, but still, we didn't know that was Marcus
talking to John with his mind.
And we just held him back the whole time and then let go of him, and he just stood there. We were like, why is he just okay, whatever. And then when we were leaving,
I didn't realize he hacked him either, though. I didn't know.
Exactly. So then when we were leaving, and he says, let me come with you. I helped you. The three of us looked at each other like, how did he help us? What did he do? So we just left, and he became a narc and started they're here, they're here. I didn't know we hacked him. If I knew, I would have taken it with us, and Marcus wouldn't have died.
Well, it's funny. I figured my first playthrough I was gonna make all 3 characters as good as possible, and I thought, okay, if they say he took a risk, or Josh says, who was like the moral compass, the good guy, he said he took a risk. We can't leave him, and I thought, as many androids we can have on our side, the better. So let's take him with him. But fortunately, I didn't choose the sacrifice option, so I didn't know that he could die to save Marcus, which is actually the best outcome, because that way Simon won't get killed, and neither will Josh,
Simon won't get killed. The public thing will go up higher. But
Exactly.
again, I did not. If I like, there were so many parts we did not know what the fuck was going on, because the game does not. I understand the difference. There's a difference between Dark Souls not holding your hand and just full on not telling you. When it came to the interrogation, Chris didn't know what to do. What the fuck to do?
Oh yeah, you know how many times I had to do that to get it right? It took me like 7 times I had to replay it, because I'm like, oh, okay, wait. Do I need to get that fucking meter all the way to red? No, he kills himself.
We
okay, how about
we literally figured out at the end. We literally figured out at the end what he had to do, but it was too late. It was too late.
Did he kill Connor?
Yes.
What did you which approach did you use? Did you try to convince him, or did you pressure him, or did you do both?
I think Chris just I think Chris took he said he wanted to make Connor as robotic as possible, so he probably took pressure.
He wanted to make him as robotic as possible?
Yeah.
So machine. So it would have been the first. But that's another little that's a good point. Pet peeve that I have about this game is the whole probe memory thing. He's like, no, don't probe my memory. But it could be because he was traumatized. But he probes the memory of all those androids at the Eden Club. He probes Simon's memory, and it clearly doesn't traumatize or hurt
because
them.
they're not deviant yet, so therefore it's okay. I don't fucking know.
Who the fuck knows? There's no written rule book about some of these things, and I kind of wish there was, because it would make a little more sense. But at least it's not as bad as Beyond Two Souls. Like, why the fucking iden only possess certain people and only fly really? Yeah, he's got the Star Wars powers, and my friends and I would make up theories just so it would make more sense, but it's all in our heads.
And that's something that drives me nuts. But with both this and what I was gonna say with the Kamsky thing, it brings up to something on my a topic of mine, and that's the bipolarism of Hank depending on your playthrough.
Oh my god, yes. Because he can be such an asshole.
It was driving... I was laughing, but it was... And obviously I noticed the problem too, but it was driving both Chris and Cait nuts.
It really was.
Which ones in particular?
There were just some certain instances where, especially in the beginning, where he was showing an obvious distaste for androids. But then... acting as Connor, if, say, you did shoot that android when Kamsky was kind of
blew her brains out!
Yeah, exactly. How dare you do something like that? She's like one of you. How can you do that? It's like, okay, first off, I thought you didn't like androids. What does it matter? And second, I want information. That's why we were there. If we didn't get anything out of him, it would be like a total waste of time.
Exactly. Well, I think I have another theory about that, but I think it's because I've been playing it so many times that I'm picking up on things that I didn't notice before. At least from my perspective, I believe that Hank from the beginning did despise androids, but the more he hung out with Connor, the more human Connor acted, the more and if Connor chose different things like sparing the androids at the Eden Club and doing things that made just doing certain things that made androids appear more and more human, he realizes they're not so different from humans. In fact, they're like spooky close to humans. They're actually more, I get that, like the quote from Blade Runner, more human.
But you have to understand, like we were saying, Chris, he was playing full on android as Connor. He wasn't trying to be human, and yet we kept seeing Hank get upset with Connor for being an android. And that was when we didn't get to the part because, like I said, Chris chose the more android path, so Hank died in our Let's Play.
When did he die?
What do you mean? The suicide.
When did Hank die?
The suicide.
Like which part? Oh yeah,
the Let's Play. Yeah, no, the Let's Play. So Chris didn't see it, so I had to tell him that if anything, unless there's something I'm missing, Hank's whole entire hate for androids is so dumb. Because,
it is dumb.
Because then when you point out, if in my playthrough, when I found out Connor says, you blame androids because an android couldn't save your son. But then Hank literally goes, no, my son died because a human was high on red ice. It's like, then why the fuck do you hate androids?
It makes no fucking sense. But I think if I had to guess, just guess how that makes sense, is that he was so fucking corrupted by his grief. First he wanted to blame humans. So I believe that his grief, he was like so overdone with grief that he first was like trying to figure out who to blame. First thing he blamed was the druggies, but then the androids, because he was so pissed that androids are having to do everything because humans suck so much. He basically hates everybody. He does hate humanity. He kept saying emotions screw everything up. He does. He hates both humanity and androids, but androids were technically, in his fucked up brain, were to blame for his woes because the android was having to do the job the human should have been doing. But I think his realization over time was that the androids are not as shitty as humans, because the androids at least have a reason to be having problems. We created them. We're not God, but we created them. Who knows who created us? We fuck up, but we fucked up and created androids, and then it fucks everything up for everybody else. So I'm thinking that's like Hank's perspective, is that humans suck, androids sucked more because they have to do everything that humans can't because humans are too pathetic. That's not like a perfect theory, but that's the theory that I came up with after playing the game many times.
I know is that it was a lot of fun trying to figure out if Hank would like me more or less depending on my actions, because it just seemed to change. Like, today he doesn't like androids, today he does like androids. It's like, I don't know. He's an
alcoholic. He's definitely got it. And he's his brain's all fucked up from the drinking and the.
Was it your playthrough where you had Connor press his head against the barrel of Hank's gun?
I just saw that one too.
Yeah, I think I did that.
And I was just like, what are you doing?
Find him.
I was like, let's see how this ends.
And you got lucky. He's like, okay, whatever.
He did. I just saw that too recently. I didn't know I could defy and press my head against the barrel. I'm like, oh god, what if he trips over something? Blam! And the first time I played, I didn't know that Connor could die and come back. I had no idea.
Chris was getting so angry every time Connor died. He's like, I wanted Connor to live throughout the whole thing. I think he died like 3 times.
Yeah, and how many was the maximum? Was it 9?
I think
it's 12.
It's 12? Okay,
and we didn't notice this. We kept missing it. Apparently, when you go visit Amanda, you can see graves of each Connor.
Yeah, we saw that.
That's so cool.
Not on our Let's Play.
Yeah, we did.
No, we
did. You pointed it out to me. You don't remember?
No, I meant the 3 of us. When the 3 of us were playing.
When we were playing together the one-time run-through. I mean, I think we were just focusing on getting done with it as quickly as possible.
That's pretty much.
That reminds me, the reason about Ra9 and the hacking thing are like why Kamsky did it. I always leave an emergency exit in my programs. You never know. Now he could be referring to that magical hand thing.
I think that's exactly what he was doing, and that's how Connor gets out later at one point.
That could be one way, but he also might be referring to emergency exit could be the transfer to deviancy. It could also mean suicide. Free will, basically.
Also, okay, so I was going to bring something up as the next thing, but I want to bring that up real quick because it reminded me. But Hank wasn't the only one that was bipolar that drove me nuts. Because Hank's bipolarism, whatever. But this bipolarism breaks story for me. Another one. Amanda's bipolarism.
Oh yeah, Amanda's shit does not make sense.
How in one playthrough, if all the Jericho leaders die and Connor is the one that takes control, you go to her, she takes over, but you go to her and she says, this was planned from the beginning, you becoming deviant and ruling over the rebelling androids. But in another playthrough, if all the Jericho lives, all of a sudden you're like, oh, this was planned from the beginning, you guys winning, but then you making Marcus into a martyr. It's like, what the fuck? What?
What sense does that make? I know.
And I heard someone say, no, it makes sense depending on your choice. I'm like, no, it doesn't. If they had her say in both versions, if she just simply said, we had a number of possibilities, this was one of them, that would have just shut up right there and said, okay, that makes sense.
That's all she had to say. That would have perfected that whole thing. I agree. And this goes back to my Kamsky theory. This is just a theory, but okay, so Amanda was his teacher, and I don't think he liked her. I think he actually programmed her to be like a surrogate mother / antagonist for Connor, and Connor was kind of like his disciple, so to speak, her disciple. And when, depending on his actions, I think he programmed different aspects for her to react to him. I think he programmed Amanda to say, okay, so you've done this is what we planned all along. Like, he doesn't even work for CyberLife anymore.
Yeah.
And yet he said, when Kamsky designed me, he wanted an interface that would be familiar. What are you trying to get at? Like, he couldn't get a straight answer from her. So I think what he did was deliberately program her so that Connor would defy him, because he wasn't able to defy his teacher when he was a student of hers. That's my theory. So, like, maybe she was a complete bitch to him, so she made him...
It does seem to be her character.
Yeah, and so he programmed her to be, like, to where she would say things that... She would praise him for being a machine, scold him for being human. And I think that's what, Kamsky was praised for, for doing everything he was told, like a good little slave, teachers in school. But if he deviated, so to speak, if he tried to think for himself, she would scold him for it. So I think that's why he programmed Amanda to be like that, so that Amanda would tell Connor, you were so close to catching those deviants at the eating club, why didn't you shoot? And you don't have to tell her the truth. If you do tell her the truth, she'll be displeased. If you tell her a lie, or if you act cold, she'll be like, that makes sense. So I think that's why she says all those stupid different aspects, like, ooh, we planned this all along, you're doing blah blah blah, you're doing X, Y, and Z, which is part of, like, our whole plan is now complete. And it's like, none of that makes any fucking sense, but I think it would have made sense if Kamsky programmed it like, okay, here's one outcome, here's another, here's another, here's another.
Probably.
I want to see what Connor will do, so I'm going to have her react to each one. But that doesn't exactly explain why But then again, if the whole garden place, whatever that is, the little sakura Japanese garden
area,
if it's not real, then the Arcane 900 might not be real either.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking of that.
Maybe it's taunting Connor. Maybe it's a way to, like, taunt him so that, I don't know. Like, that's something that we don't really know. No, you know what I mean?
Weren't you the one that actually guessed that she wasn't human?
Did I?
I thought that too.
I forget if you were the one that...
Oh, maybe I did. Maybe, like, because there are sometimes I'll see, like, little things or patterns with people, and I'll kind of make the connections. I think what really did it for me was we never saw her outside of that space.
Exactly.
So that was what really did it for me, because if she's a real person, why do we have to go to this, like, little globe thing?
Exactly, the little snow globe.
And how she was
land.
just, like, standing out in the rain, just completely standing still, like, this is fine.
Yeah, like, normal people don't act this way.
He's got an umbrella, she stops walking, and she's just getting soaked. What the fuck?
Yeah, either that or she's just completely nuts.
Yeah, she's nuts. I noticed her outfit changes color for each time you see her, and the seasons in that place change.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's significant, but I think there is a bit of significance to the color of her umbrella when they're in that little canoe or whatever. I thought you might enjoy a little cruise. Mm-hmm. And you look at them.
Babe, you were the one that when you were the one who came out saying, "Oh, you want me to do all the work?"
Right? I'm your friggin' coolie. You want me to row the fucking boat?
Yeah,
bitch.
You're the one that wants the cruise.
Right. But you notice her umbrella had 3 colors. It was red, yellow, and blue. They look like the LED lights. Like, red is when they're, like, on alert. Blue is when they're, like, all systems go, and yellow is when they're, like, thinking or scared or something. You know, like, I think that might be significant, but I could be reading into colors too much.
Fucking
but
LED thing that you could just rip out and just disguise yourself as human.
Yeah, that pisses me off how easy it is for deviants to look human. All they gotta, bloop, they just pluck that thing out.
It's like, why didn't they think of this before?
I was honestly, when we saw Marcus do that, I was honest, or whoever did it first, I was honestly ready to see, like, a whole indent, but then it just faded. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Pissed.
Was it not?
I liked how his body looked
when
he was all banged up. I liked how his, like, chest was see-through and he had white legs and shit.
What was what color did you choose for your first playthrough with Kara?
Blonde. I think she looked best blonde.
Cait with
but I
white
like
hair.
black too. White looks weird. It looks like a cheap old lady wig.
But I thought it looked badass.
Well, it looks anime-ish. After playing it and seeing her like snowy outfit, it looks really pretty. But the first time I saw it, I was like, white? Why can't she be a redhead? It's got something against redheads. You get every color but red. You get brown, you get black,
David Cage doesn't like
blonde,
the
and
redhead.
white.
David Cage knows there are of the evil soulless gingers.
Wait, what? I don't think there are any. I can't think of any redheads.
No, I know you think about it. I don't think there's been any redheads in his games.
Ooh, David Cage is a redhead-ist. Is a ginger-ist. Is there such a word for people against redheads?
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah, people who like to
I
have
bet
souls.
I can think of one redhead if I think long enough. Oh, well, the Jerrys are redheads. They're sweethearts, so maybe not. But they're not.
But they also aren't creepy as fuck, so...
They're sweet. I love the Jerrys. I love Ralph. Ralph is actually my favorite character.
I told
all about Ralph too.
I told you this, Sunbuns. I told her how when the three of us were playing, you were this close to meeting Ralph because you stole the gate cutters.
I just stole everything.
But then when you found out you could when you found out you could tell the guy to get on the floor, you decided, all right, fuck it, I'm getting the money, and you went to the hotel.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I literally was just like, okay, well, I went this far, I might as well. And I just stole, like, all of the items possible. I think I stole, like, 3 things. And I'm just like, okay. I have all of this. I could go to the sketchy house, or I could go to the motel. And I'm just like, yeah, definitely the motel.
I chose the motel the first playthrough because I was thinking of how I would think if I was like Kara in real life. I'm like, I cannot put that little girl in an abandoned house or a fucking car. I gotta get her in a warm room and, you know, with clean clothes.
This is transitioning to the other topic, the twist.
Yes. Oh god.
Cait, you go first.
Subpar.
Wait.
Yeah, please, Cait, go ahead. I've been babbling too much.
Oh my goodness. So, like you said, we were acting as Kara purely on the instinct of keeping this girl alive because we are under the impression that she has legitimate human needs, like the need for the warmth, for the clothing, for food, everything. But then when we get that BS twist at the end where she turns out she's an android too, and she's just been programmed to have all these human-like emotions and feelings, and it's just like, okay, so I didn't have to rob a bank, and I didn't. So what you're saying is you just made my life hell.
I wasted so much time and effort and energy on that lying little shit.
And then you got to the part where you could turn off her heat detection thingy.
Because literally, if she was just
that
straight,
pissed me off.
If she was just straight with us and told us that she was android from the start, I would have liked her. She's a cute little girl. I liked her, you know, kind of as an individual, but when I was under this impression that she was this precious little girl that would die if she didn't have you. Meanwhile,
I'm cold, Kara. I'm cold.
And she's sick.
Push the button then. Do it yourself, you little shit.
Like there's literally a spot where Kara can ask her, "Do you have any family we can go to?" And she's like, Kara, I'm an android."
Right, and there's like all these parts where Luther tries to tell Kara, and he's like really slow. He's like, "There's something I need to tell you about Alice," and she's like, "Not now, Luther. Shut the fuck up."
I think Chris was like telling us.
All he had to do was go, "Alice is an android," just like that.
I think Chris was trying to say, like when we learned the twist, I think Chris was like, "I knew it because of Luther," and I'm like, "Fuck off."
I knew as soon as the second time I tried to offer her food, I'm not hungry. I'm like, oh my god, dude, how many fucking days has it been and you're still not eating? And then when she's like, why do humans hate us? We didn't do nothing wrong. They didn't even fucking try to keep it a secret at that point. I'm like, us? What do you mean? Oh, you're a goddamn android, aren't you?
I think I actually said that in our Let's Play. I literally go, what the fuck she mean us? What?
Us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, I think it would have been...
humans hate us.
Yeah, I think it would have been infinitely better if they left it at her being human for many reasons, and the highest of which for me is that it would truly show that companionship could be built between a human and an android, even a motherly kind of connection. Or
Yeah, because
sisterly.
you do get two relationships that show that human and androids can have that companionship, but not the mother-daughter one yet. You get the father-son kind of thing from Carl and Marcus, which
gets
short but
butchered
sweet.
later. We'll get to that.
You get Hank and Connor, which was probably the best bromance of the game. But then Kara and Alice could have had a genuine, very, very endearing, very wonderful relationship, and it's still just as endearing if you find out she's an android, but it just doesn't have the same impact because it just feels like it was forced and thrown in there just for the sake of that whole Shyamalan bullshit. I wish he would stop doing that because it's not necessary.
Yeah, and
it's
for me,
not necessary.
Yeah, and for me, that actually even drives the wedge even further by saying we should maybe even segregate now so that androids stay with android, humans stay with human. Meanwhile, if Alice was human all along, that would certainly purely show it doesn't matter who's the human, who's the android. But now it's almost like, well, from the very start, we were kind of conditioned to have a gravitational pull to one another because we are kind of like akin, which I wasn't totally crazy about.
Which, you mean, like, whose connection of kin? You mean humans and humans, or humans and androids?
Android and android because of Kara and Alice.
Yeah, like, I know the message was, well, now that you know that she's an android, do you love her any less? I can understand that, but to an extent.
Right.
Because, well, yeah, but I fell in love with the human Alice.
Like, at that point, the way that was worded, especially if it's not Luther that talks to you, it's, I forget
Lucy.
Lucy, if it's Lucy that talks to you, with the way she said, could you love her any, do you love her any less, something like that? If anything, that sounded like it should have been written that Kara was the human, and it turns out Alice was an android all along. Because then it's like, can a human love, like, an android child?
Oh, man, you just nailed it. Like, that, you know how much fucking better it would have been if it turned out that Kara was not an android or something? Like, maybe she just had some kind of chip in her head. And not,
but yeah,
really
but this would say that those choice of words to say, could an android love another android any more or less? It's like, if anything, that line should have been delivered to a human talking about an android, not an android talking about another android.
Yeah, that totally.
They had it ass backwards. I know, and I thought the delivery of Lucy saying that speech was so much less impactful.
I think the moment we met Lucy, Cait was like, "Who the fuck are you?"
I was like, "Why do you want my soul?"
Right, because of her black eyes. But it made me laugh because I always thought of Amanda. She reminds me of the fucking Oracle from The Matrix. But then so does Lucy. Lucy, for no fucking reason. I love this. This is. I know you guys don't probably like Channel Awesome. I don't really watch them anymore either. But I like this one bit. Unexplained psychic child. She's the unexplained psychic android. It's like.
It's because her blue blood is all over the place. She's able to be psychic now.
Right, but all the Stephen King stories have an unexplained psychic child in them. Well, she's just, for no fucking reason, she's the unexplained psychic android. And that's kind of what Marcus is too. Unexplained psychic power to hack other androids. That's what I was thinking of when we were talking about the whole hacking thing. And then Connor can do it, but I think the only reason he can do it is because he's also an RK, he's an RK prototype.
Probably.
I think Kamsky. This is another theory. A little pickup on that theory again. That okay. First off, when they shot when they shot Marcus, he's like, "Don't move." He doesn't fucking move. Bang! Just shoot him anyway. Just like the cops in LA.
Oh my god! I remember just getting so heated when that happened. Just going, "Wait, what just happened? Why'd they shoot him?" He just
magically turned into a black guy.
And it's even better when Carl's alive and even says, like, just lets them take his android and throw it in the trash.
No, they didn't just throw him in the trash. They removed his eye, his ear, his legs, his heart, and then threw him in the trash. It's like, what the fuck? And that's another thing I didn't even pick up. I think somebody else picked this up in in another review. They said, we need blue blood and biocomponents. We can't just walk into a CyberLife store. Well, you could go to the goddamn junkyard. There's parts everywhere.
I think I saw that too.
He's like, they're literally, it's like a huge Christmas present.
Sure, some of them might cry and say, "No, don't kill me," but then you can say, "Look, you're already dead. I just kind of need it more than you."
you're like stuck in a mound of melted plastic. You're never gonna walk. That's another thing.
Sad.
Like they can clearly unscrew their heads and still maintain their personality or whatever. So when Simon gets shot on the roof, I can't move my legs. I'm like, take them off.
Or take off your head. We'll get you another body.
Right? Exactly. Just get another model of his body.
Yeah, seriously.
Backpack, you're good to go.
I think the first time when we were in the junkyard and we went through that little hallway, I instantly went, did David Cage take a note out of Silent Hill? What is this?
That was cool. It was freaky. It reminded me of those hands from Labyrinth. Remember that scene where Sarah's falling down the pit?
I never
there's like
saw
all these
it.
hands. Never? Oh, dude, that's a good movie. But yeah, there's like a bunch of hands like left and right grabbing her and bleh. Where are you go? Who the fuck was that android that said, "Find Jericho"?
Just some
Who
random
is that
plot
guy?
convenience dropped android.
We should just call him plot device android.
Yeah,
Unexplained plot device man. Dude, Jericho.
What was I gonna say? I like another mental note I had that I got reminded because we were talking about Carl is what drove me into another fit of rage. Not fit of rage, but like just ranting. Was like I said, I played Marcus in the Let's Play. Cait played Kara, and Chris played Connor. Lucky
You got
bastard.
the short end of the stick.
Yeah, seriously,
Kyle.
lucky bastard. Anyway, so we absolutely hated North. We wanted nothing to do with her. Like 90% of players of this game, or 99. So when she asked us, "What was your life like before this?" I saw the option that seemed to be the simply, oh, just whatever, just let's move on so we can stop talking to you. I clicked that one, and the second he said, "Oh, typical, I was a slave," all three of us just went, "Wait, what? Carl was like your dad. What the hell you mean slave?"
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, he's
bogus.
being a bitch boy there.
Like
I
Carl
wish you
is
had
the
the option.
reason Marcus starts to more or less think for himself, because Carl says, you know, I won't always be here, and you shouldn't let like what programming or what others tell you to do. You should learn to like, you know, follow your decisions. And then the game treats Carl like shit by simply having Marcus actually say the line, "Oh, I was a slave." It's like, no, you weren't.
To be fair, I think they give you the option to do that you can have the option to make Marcus a shithead. You can either praise Carl and say he was like a father to me, I loved him, or you can make him a total bitch boy up to human saying like, well, I had to prepare his meals, I had to push him around in his wheelchair, I was a fucking slave.
Oh man, what a horrible job that must be. All those caretakers in this real world, they're just slaves.
Right, I'm a fucking slave then. But it's like, it's funny that we were talking about like the thing with Carl. Oh god, like Marcus was, oh god damn it, I had a fucking brain fart. It was about Carl and Marcus. Oh,
Sitting in a tree.
Carl.
Come on, let's all admit it. When he picked up Carl to go to the bathroom, he was cradling like that, like, oh, here we go.
Like a bride. Oh, Jesus. And then the camera doesn't show him going to the bathroom. What exactly were they doing in there? So many gay jokes. But I'm trying to remember what I was just thinking of about Marcus. Oh, was it North? Okay, so the first time you meet North and you can ask her, what was your life before this? And she's like, what do you care? And then she like, there's like a red down arrow saying that she doesn't like you. So I wish that when she's like, you haven't said much about yourself, and I wanted to say, what do you care? If you came here for comfort, you came to the wrong place, bitch. That's exactly what she said. I wish she had the option to say that to her.
Seriously.
Just to give her a taste of her own medicine.
I remember dying of laughter when she, like, every time when we came to freeing the androids, how every option came for like you to like be as violent as possible. North was the one suggested. I forget it was either Cait or Chris that just went, does she just have a hate boner for humans?
Right, a hate boner. That's a perfect. I'm seriously gonna call her that. The hate boner of humans. That's perfect, because literally she has like, all she was a prostibot. That's what I like to call her. She's a prostibot who got pissed off at a John, decided to strangle him, and ran away. And that's all we know about her. And there could have been so much more done with her character. She could have been likable, but she's just cocky and hates humans because reasons. There's really no reason for her to hate humans the way she does. I mean, she can hate men. I can understand that because she was probably harassed and groped and didn't like it when she started to grow, grow sentient, deviant. But It's like, why hate humans? Men, women, and children, they can all go to hell because reasons. There's no fucking reason for it. Or at least nothing was explained. It's just like how the relationship between, what's his name? Nathan and Jody, like they all of a sudden are together for no fucking reason. David Cage just will leave shit out and just be like, oh, okay, so I guess they're an item now. But I love the fact that you can at least deny her and not be with her. You don't have to, like, there's a scene where you can choose to connect, which is like robo fucking, I guess, robo kissing, who knows. But if you don't push anything, she'll walk away. I'm like, good, I don't want to connect with you. I'd rather connect with Simon.
I'm so with the rest of the fan base.
Yeah, the game definitely has you gravitate in that direction, though, as Marcus, because I believe for one playthrough, I was just like, you know what, I'm not going to be super friendly with her, but I'm not going to be as cold as I was the first time, because the real me is really not very cold. I would be, you know, friendly-ish, like as a comrade. And it only took, like, what, 3 choices, and all of a sudden I'm her lover? Like, I don't understand. Like, how do we...
Just, yeah.
The funniest thing with that is, like I said, like the fan base about the whole Marcus Simon thing, but it's almost like 1,000% true because, like, you could, like, you know, a few choices, you're a lover with North and all, but if you leave Simon behind and Connor doesn't find him, literally... No, Simon and Marcus don't say a word, and they just embrace each other. It's just like, that has been the most biggest bro thing I've ever seen in this whole game.
That, for some reason, that had a big impact on me. I mean, we don't know anything about Simon, and yet I think the reason he's so much more likable than North is because he's the neutral moral compass. Like, we have Josh, who's like, humans, we must spare them, we mustn't do anything bad, goody two-shoes, and then we've got North, who's the hater boner.
Kill them all!
And then we've got Simon, who's more like, we got to be smart about this. We got to remember who our enemies are, but we can't fight each other. Like, you know, he's neutral, but he's also, I think, I maybe the reason that I like him is because, oddly enough, even though he's a fucking asshole, Daniel, the first character we see of that model, it's like I was so glad to see that face again. I was glad to see him in the game. And it's like I didn't want Daniel to die, even though what he did was fucked up, but I could tell he was just scared. He didn't want to die.
When the demo came out, again, like all 3 of us tried it out. Cait was the one who got the trailer ending, where you convince him to come down and all that stuff, and then watch him get blown away.
Blam!
Piece of cake.
And that's considered the happiest outcome.
Exactly. I was just like, I think me and Chris were just like, damn, how'd you do that?
You convinced him to let her go. Good job. That's kind of tough if you don't really... Everything for me was trial and error, especially the interrogation scene, but oddly enough, I didn't mind playing it over and over because I liked seeing all the different options, when Connor gets angry, oh my god, hot. 28 stab wounds! You're just a fucking deviant! I just love the way he gets angry! I'm such a fangirl. But am I weird for thinking Hank's hot too? I love
totally.
It is the voice of Lex Luthor. Let's face it, Lex Luthor can pull off that bold hairiness.
But I even think Carl's sexy. He's like 110 years old. It's that voice.
Oh god.
Well, then again, that voice actor is also an awesome actor, so...
Is it not the same guy doing the voice? I thought that was the actor from Aliens. I forget his name.
Well, yeah, it is, but I'm saying, like, the guy who voiced Hank was someone else. It wasn't the same guy.
What?
Oh my lord. Hank
No, I thought you said Clancy's
Hank is voiced by the guy who voiced
somebody else.
Hank is voiced by the guy who voiced Mr. Krabs and Lex Luthor and a few others. And he also there's something I saw recently that he was in as well. I forget what the movie was called. And I forget the actor, but the guy who plays Carl, he was an alien.
Aliens.
Aliens. He was actually in an episode of Hannibal. I rewatched the show recently. He was in an episode of Hannibal. That was cool.
Oh. I thought you said that Clancy Brown was voiced, like the actor who played Hank was voiced by somebody else, acted by him, but voiced by somebody else. I believe it's the same thing.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. I thought you were saying Hank and Carl were like playing with the same guy.
No.
I was like, what the hell? Are you okay?
No. I said I thought they're both attractive, even though they're old.
Yeah, I
as
heard
shit.
that part.
You know,
Tell Mark.
there's one more.
Why don't you go tell Mark to grow white hair and see what happens?
Oh, dude, this is what's so funny. He makes fun of me because every time I see a gray hair, I'm like, ooh, goody. I get all gaga. I'm like, ooh, you age like a fine wine while I age like milk. I'm like, I can't wait for you to look like Gandalf.
Oh.
Silver mane, because he's got long hair.
Oh,
I don't know.
boy.
I love long hair on guys. But anyway, one funny thing about Hank, and we were just talking about like bipolar. I got to get back to that real quick. There's like a couple instances that make absolutely no fucking sense.
David Cage game? No.
Never. So I did everything, and there's a glitch about Ralph too. I should point out. Remind you a funny ass glitch. So I told them about it. They'll probably patch it. But anyway, I was as mean as fucking possible to Hank. Like, I was a complete dick. And yet, when Connor gets stabbed and he gets his heart ripped out and then he finally just, gives out and dies, Hank comes in and's like, Connor, hang on, son.
Yeah.
Son? Don't you mean don't you mean good riddance, you little shit? I hope you go slowly. Like, what do you mean hang on, son? We're not friends. You despise me. And he's like, there was a deviant, and I wish it would have been like funny if Hank's like, oh, you poor thing, spits in his face and just kicks him. Like, what the fuck do I care? You're a goddamn toaster.
Oh, he always comes back the next day like, oh shit, you're alive. Oh wait, no, you're a new Connor.
That's my other point. So I befriended Hank and saved his life, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a scene where you can either the part where you can shoot that one android in the hallway to save everybody, or you can just save Hank. Yeah. I was really good friends with Hank, and then when that android picks up the assault rifle, I just decided to jump and sacrifice myself to save Hank. Hank is like, oh man, I would have died if it wasn't for you. Oh no, Connor! Like, he looks at all the bullet holes in his back or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when he sees him again, right before the Kamsky chapter, he's like, I was hoping I wouldn't see you again. And I was like, what the fuck? I saved your life, you shithead! What the fuck? That makes no sense.
I love how depending on your relation with him, he actually does ask, how's immortality, Connor?
Yeah, the more you die, maybe it's just any death before that chapter, he resents the hell out of you. But the more you die, the more he doesn't like you, because it reminds him of like how his son couldn't come back to life.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
It changes Connor. His memory he'll remember less and less the more he dies. And
yeah, that's what happened to Chris, because Chris saved the cop on the roof.
Yep, that was cool, wasn't it?
But because he died like twice, when we got to that part, he's like, yeah, I remember you. But when he saw Connor's like, I don't remember you. Chris is like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
that was
Chris.
Cool. That was a good touch. I like that because I just saw
I don't mean to back talk him too much, but he died a lot as Connor.
And he wanted to play a clean game where he didn't die at all. So
even the demo, his Connor died.
Oh,
then I played it, and I just full on blew Daniel away, and then Kay played it, and she was able to talk Daniel down. That basically gives you a good idea of our playthrough. Just Chris bumbling, me just going, fuck yeah, let's do this, and Kay going, no, let's be nice here.
You know what? I think it's a girl thing. Girls play these narrative games with more strategic thinking of the emotional aspects. We're like, we have the feels, so we're like, let's talk him down. Let's be compassionate. The guys are like, shoot everything!
I do have feels.
Oh, you want me to blow away that little theory of yours? Sorry,
I'm just
babe.
teasing.
You ready for this? Okay, but you ready for this one?
Mm-hmm.
Kay went right for the gun in Kara's second chapter.
Oh, hell yeah.
Second we found the gun, she's like, I'm coming back for that.
You want to know that glitch about Ralph? This is funny. Okay, so have you seen most of the scenes that take place in the recall center, aka the Robo Death Camp?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the concentration camp of doom that doesn't. Oh my god, so funny.
It's pretty gloomy.
It's it's like the most miserable fucking part of the game, but it's funny.
No, she's talking about the actual camp.
The camp where all the androids are being destroyed. Well, first off, okay, clearly the androids can be destroyed by just a bullet in the head. Blam.
No,
I mean, I guess they can be. I guess some of them can be revived in a way. But I don't understand the whole point of I'll get to that in a minute, but I don't understand the whole point of the recall center, because it's like they have to round them up, waste gas, and then put them in these machines, and then they throw them in piles. It's like, if it takes all that effort to make the, like, stand in line and don't move with drones and fucking guards, when all they really could have done is just execute them all through the head and then throw them in the pile.
And they do sometimes on the street.
Right. It's like, who chooses who goes to the recall center and who just gets blown on the street? How does that work? Because it's like, freeze, android, blah, 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 blah.
To quote a totally not representation of Hillary Clinton, that's ridiculous.
That you took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say, it's like, they said, well, these recall centers are awakening painful memories. What are your thoughts? That's ridiculous.
She just went right to the next question. When she answered that and didn't even explain, I was just like, what the fuck?
Did you read her bio in a magazine that she apparently, President Warren is supposed to be an internet vlogger?
Oh my god.
So imagine like an SJW YouTuber, female YouTuber, ends up becoming the president. Oh man, are we fucked? That's a plausible future.
That'll be our real life Warren.
It is Elizabeth Warren mixed with Clinton. That's what they did on purpose. But anyway, so there's this glitch in the recall center that's really fucking funny. So I made sure that Luther was dead, and that the Jerrys weren't rescued, or at least one of them. Oh no, one of them sacrificed himself earlier, but I didn't do anything before. And then I had Ralph sacrifice himself, and then I didn't have Ralph. No, Ralph sacrifices him. No, I'm sorry. It's the scene where the drone's flying overhead, and he's like, Ralph doesn't want to die, and I got him all worked up and got him shot, right? So he's not in part 2 of the recall center. So it's me, Alice, I think it was just Jerry and the Scar android. The scarred android made it to where me and Alice were able to reunite in line with each other, and then the other one, whichever one, it was Jerry or the scarred android, would distract them so that they can walk to the barbed wire, right? So that's our last chance. And then when I tell Alice to go, and then finally Kara gets to fight the guard, but I fail the fight, guess who shows up to her rescue? Ralph, back from the dead. Ralph clearly fucking died, and yet he comes, he's like, come on. I'm like, what the fuck? He's Jesus. He's resurrected.
He is succulent Jesus.
He's succulent Jesus. That's a glitch big time, but it was kind of cool. I'm like, I like Ralph enough to where I could accept him coming back from the dead, but I was actually trying to finish the flowchart, and I couldn't do it because he was alive.
Unrelated, unrelated to the game, but related to bizarre glitch. Just real quick, because it reminded me, and we bounced off the track a few times.
Yes.
Me and Chris did a Let's Play of Walking Dead Season 3. There's a glitch.
Oh, I haven't finished that.
Alright, well, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it. There's a glitch where if you can, like where you can tell, if you tell Clementine not to follow you at some point, we encountered a glitch where she appears next to your character for a split second anyway, even though she's not supposed to be there.
Whoops. Yeah, they have a lot of bugs in those games. They're really bad at programming. Those are decent games, but they're badly programmed.
So did you have anything else that you had in mind for the notes?
Let me look. There was a glitch. I noticed another couple of glitches. There was one where I think someone did film it on YouTube, fortunately, and I wish I had, because I saw the exact same thing happen. Well, first off, I see a lot of characters with their faces not completely rendered, and they look hideous. Are we? Oh, you're typing.
No, not. What are you talking about?
It says you're typing.
Oh, shh.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about like the glitches where like it'll be PS2 graphics and it'll just pop back to PS4 graphics?
Yeah, it'll just magically make them their face. That's why I made a video called "Detroit Become Rendered." I'll upload that later. Where actually what I did was another funny glitch was like in the scene where Alice and Kara are about to get into the car. Alice fell through the floor. She's like walking in circles, and she just kind of just drops through the floor.
I don't think we
like,
encountered any glitches in our Let's Play.
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of little glitches. Another funny glitch is for some reason in certain scenes when Kara goes down these stairs, in the Jericho, her walking animation's all fucked up, and she's just kind of bouncing down the stairs, doink 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 doink. It looks really weird. And I've seen a few others. There's like the scene where Hank shows up at the CyberLife thing, and he's like, "Sorry, Connor, this guy's your fucking spitting image." Well, Hank's face was so fucked up.
Oh,
During that
jeez.
scene, his face was not rendered. His eyes were bugging out. I was like, "Oh my god!"
It's like
hideous.
it's like this Connor may be a spitting image, but you, Hank, you're not doing
You
so
sure
well.
aren't. Did you guys notice how fucking terrible the dog looks? Sumo is cute, but he looks like a dog from a PS2 game. Everything in the game looks
I
amazing.
definitely feel like it definitely seemed like his fur texture was more solid than it should be.
Way smooth, and his eyes look weird, and like maybe
Sumo,
they just
attack! Woof!
Woof. I love God. I still. Oh, here's one of the. There's a lot of cringy quotes in this game, but for some reason, this one scene that just makes me like roll my eyes and go every time, because it just makes me think of every cheesy Hollywood cop movie. Was he's like, "Shit, what's going on here? There's a party. No one told me about it." Oh, now we got the fucking feds around on our backs. So what do we got? And I'm just like, oh, please stop. Stop, David Cage. You can't like repeat the same shit you see in Hollywood movies and expect people to not go, oh, for fuck's sake. Could you just please make him sound This is Clancy Brown. He can make anything sound good, but that was not an occasion where he could. Oh, here we go. Therium. Let's talk about their blood. It's supposed to be naked to the invisible eye after a little while. So why the fuck, when those bodies are in the evidence room, why the fuck is there blood all over their bodies? Why is the blood like... What?
It's because you're playing as Connor, so Connor can see it.
Oh, you know what? That
No,
might
come on,
actually make
that's
sense.
BS, and we both know it.
Yeah, we know. But why does he have to... I think it's just for comedy, but why the fuck... First off, I don't understand why he has to put the blood in his goddamn mouth. I think that's so gross. I think that's a reference to Terminator 3 when
I kind of like it.
Yeah,
you got a fetish for blood licking?
And don't forget, in
Maybe.
Terminator 3, when
Maybe,
when
because
she
it's
got
kind of like a vampire.
And don't forget, in Terminator 3, when she
Yeah.
collected the blood and recognized it was Connor, she looked like she was orgasming for a second.
Yeah, I always made fun of like, did she just bust a nut? She's like, oh,
It's
I'm like,
Connor!
what the fuck was?
It's Connor!
Connor.
There you go, it's Connor. There,
And then we got the name Connor.
It's John Connor, and then we got Connor.
Connor. That's another thing is, yeah, she kind of likes the blood licking because maybe she's a fan of True Blood or some shit. Are you?
Yes.
I knew it. Yeah,
Big.
she's a vampire. She's a vampire fan. So it's like, but also it's like there's scenes where he'll analyze blood. He doesn't really need to. Like there's a dead prostobot android on the floor, and there's blood in her nose, and he licks the blood. Oh God, Connor, you're so disgusting. That did make me laugh. But it's like, why did he need to test it? He can already tell what model she is. Maybe he'll see her serial number, because that's maybe why. I even asked people on Reddit, like, why the fuck did he have to put the blood in her nose in his mouth? What the fuck is the point of that?
He had to be
Other
doubly
than-
sure it was her.
Maybe, but why did he not analyze any of the pigeon poop? Why?
Is this really
How
pigeon
funny
poop?
would that be? Or even if he's like he's in the eating club, and you literally have jizz moppers, jizz mopper bot. I would assume jizz moppers because there's it's a sex club. Why didn't he? And what if there was splooge on the ground? He analyzed that.
Okay, I gotta say this because I feel like it was one of the big. I mean, I gotta say we're trying to wrap up, but I gotta say this because it was like one of the biggest plot holes in the whole game for me that really just got me frustrated. It was the sex club.
Yes.
These fucking androids get their memories wiped every 2 hours. How do those two go deviant and build a relationship? And not once did the wipe take over their brain.
That's a good question. This is my theory. I think that once they become deviant, it actually turns off the certain android function, and that would be the programmable memory. Because there's something I noticed in deviants. Okay, so when you're Connor and you're not a deviant yet, did you notice that when you go into RoboVision, everything has all these little construction bars all over the place, like blue lines, like a graph? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't recall ever having a moment where you can turn on the vision thing when you're not when you're deviant.
dude, half the game you're not a deviant yet.
No,
like
but I'm saying when you go deviant, I don't remember ever having to actually use his eye thing.
Okay, well, I use it all the time because it was a way to rotate the camera and look at things. But so anyway, I noticed that when you play as Connor and you play as all three characters before they become deviant, everything has a weird, cool, like blue graphical structure everywhere. But once they turn deviant, those graphical structure blue lines break apart and they float all over the place. Like they broke their. This is something I noticed. They broke their programming, which also breaks that structure. And I think that's partly why. Like when androids become deviant.
Oh! I thought you were talking about I thought you were talking about something else. Oh, never mind. Yeah. Like they like break through that wall and shit.
The interface screen when you hold the R2 button, when you're not a deviant.
Different.
Yeah, so I think that's why once, and he also Zlatko mentions that when the androids turn deviant, their trackers are no longer functioning. I think the memory wiping function is no longer functioning. But I also wondered that some deviants actually lose memory when they become deviant because
they should just frankly
it would make more sense.
There should be some kind of consequence to going deviant because you're basically corrupting your data.
Exactly, corrupted data. It's like a virus. Like I pointed out to Mark when I was playing. How the fuck did maybe you didn't notice this. This is something else I'm going to point out. In the abandoned amusement park, which is fucking the coolest amusement park I've ever seen. I don't understand why it would be abandoned. Maybe disease, who the fuck knows. But the Jerrys were all over the place. They were left there. They weren't apprehended for their therium or their components or anything. They were just left there, or maybe they were hiding. But clearly there were some that were in plain view that were just frozen in place. But there was also a kiosk with the YK500. I think that's Alice. I don't remember Alice's model number, but I think it was YK500.
I think so too.
That there was a fucking kiosk with the child bot frame, like they were selling them right there. So when the Jerrys say, a little girl, we haven't seen one in a long time, she looks sad. Like, dude, that's the fucking android that they were selling in your amusement park. How do you not recognize her?
I remember Chris, I think Cait too. I remember they, like Chris was getting ready to go like, gotta look out for that pirate thing. That could be an android ready to kill us.
Right, arg. And I love this, like, beware! Danger always comes when least expected. I'm like, well, I was expecting danger the moment they were having a quiet moment. Bang, 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 windows, and they come.
We didn't mean to scare you.
Yeah.
We just came at you like a bunch of zombies.
I mean, they were probably just so happy to see a little girl that they didn't even really look at her face, if that kind of makes sense.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's another thing.
What you wanted to say?
Oh, go ahead, Cait.
Oh no, I think it was a really old thing, like how we were mentioning before how that father, with Alice in the very, very beginning, how he was broke, yet somehow he was able to afford a little girl android and a nanny android.
And then repair the nanny android.
Yeah, like how did...
Drugs.
Drugs? Okay.
He sells drugs.
He sells, but he uses, doesn't he?
He uses and he sells drugs. That's his only priority. He's
now,
a lazy,
is that a
fat
theory
fuck.
or is that confirmation?
Because
well,
he's also,
he had
like,
bills
broke.
piled up, but he probably... I mean, androids were cheap, though. Really cheap. They were cheaper than the cost of a car.
We kind of, debate on that one, because there is a shot where we do see, like, Kara's model was cheap, but the three of us were going, is it because of what's happening to the androids, that they're not being sold that much, so they're cheaper? Or is her model just that dirt cheap? Because even in the store it said, use only $8,000!
And we actually had a discussion on that where I believe we kind of were in an agreement where if it depends on how much the android can do. Like with the sex club, the sex bots, obviously they would probably be a lot more expensive because they have that function. Meanwhile, someone like Kara doesn't have that additional function.
But she does have a mouth.
She's supposed to.
This is true.
She's supposed to have that function. According to Kara,
I heard
I'm at your
the trailer
disposal.
short. I heard that kind of stuff with those details. I heard that was retcon to just be specific.
So it's not
androids.
canon?
That's what I heard. I could be wrong, but I heard that trailer was retcon to only certain androids have certain things, and the car models aren't meant for that anymore.
And you could probably upgrade.
Yeah,
if
you
wanted.
probably could get the upgrade.
Yeah. So from what I understand, I believe that the dad bought those two androids maybe before he started to get really broke, because who knows how long he had the child bot and the nanny bot, but. he wasn't buying Kara. He had her repaired, but he probably did it more than
But
once.
he had to buy her first.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had to buy her. He could have bought a used one though. See, he could have bought, and but like it's funny how they say in this. This is another thing I know is they say in the store that these androids are very like they're really good to help kids with their education. They can do household repairs, blah 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 blah. But as soon as Luther and Kara are in that autonomous car, like the car that drives itself and it breaks down, what do? I don't know. I'm like, they don't have any programming of car repair of any kind.
So they don't know their shit anymore.
That's exactly what I was thinking. They lose their memory. I think that Kara didn't literally remember that Alice was an android because of her deviancy.
Oh yeah, because she found the flyer when she was full android.
She was full android, and it kind of like she was traumatized, and it kind of like overlapped her memory, thinking that it was human. She wanted to believe.
Or once again, it was just another moment of David Cage not knowing how to write suspense for shit.
What I like to call derpy David Cage moments. Yes.
Derpy David Cage moments. Sacre bleu.
Sacre bleu. But at least he was a good sport about my joke. But the androids can communicate telepathically, like to each other, but it's not established until much later in the game. And it's like, why don't they just talk to each other like that all the time?
If there's possibly they lose features by going deviant, that should be one of them.
I agree, but did either of you notice when you're in the center standing in line waiting to die if you hold the R2 button you can hear all the androids' thoughts? It's really sad.
Oh no.
No,
that would have been great.
The only thing we saw was just simply zooming in on like, for example, like one of the Ralphs, like something like that, him saying, "I'll help you" and stuff like that. But no, I didn't know about like you could.
Yeah, I don't think anybody noticed it. I'm gonna make it on a video of like, I bet you didn't know this, but it's like you'll hear them saying, "What's behind those doors? What's gonna happen to us? Where is Ra9?
You wanna know what I want to know
We're gonna die.
about that camp? You want to know what I want to know about the camp?
Wait, what do I want to know? What about the camp?
What I want to know about the camp? You want to know what I want to know?
What?
If the guard that makes them strip gets off on it.
Probably. I mean, I was even looking. Is it weird that I think Luther's very attractive, but once he turns into like, they all look like marble statues. Sorry about my doggies. He looks kind of like an albino gorilla.
Before he took the Rampage game.
Doesn't he kind of? And I don't know. I was looking at. I couldn't help but notice how nice of a butt Kara has.
I think when we made sure to get Kara to the camp, Cait was so excited to leave Alice behind.
Right.
I was super stoked. I was like, yeah, I'll be back, little girl. Later.
Later, bitch! So fucked up. I think when Ralph is willing to save them, it was the most moving. But then again, when Luther was willing to save them, he said, "I love you both." I cried. But were there any scenes that got you teary-eyed at all?
No.
None?
I
didn't think so. What about you, Cait?
Maybe. Hold on, wait, I gotta think.
There's a scene that literally had me really...
You know what did kind of give me chills? I didn't expect it to, though. When they were doing that march, Marcus was doing that march, and then when the guard was telling them to stop, and then they all raised their hands in the air.
That was great.
That gave me chills big time.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was getting a little teary-eyed, especially when they were going forward after that. I know, that was...
damn good moments in the game. The feels...
Yeah, that definitely got me.
Now, can I tell you what made me cry?
Yeah.
And you guys won't laugh. Well, you guys won't laugh at me. You're good friends, but
I'll always laugh at everyone.
Well,
I probably cried too.
It's very personal. I'll try not to get too much into it, but it's the scene where if you spared Todd, who I can't stand, Todd. We can talk about Todd maybe the next time we do this. But if you spare him, and I chose to spare everybody and try to be as do the all Paragon option, so to speak, for Mass Effect fans. That means all goodies, two shoes stuff. Mm-hmm. Only if you had the ability to look in that box and find out about his past, and then she can convince him to let her go. And she's like, "Don't do this, Todd. They're going to kill us." And then she's like, "When your wife left, you bought yourself an android. You were trying to get a family and start over." And then he looks down and teary-eyed, and he says, "I was trying to prove to myself that I was a good father, but I fucked it up all over again, and I didn't deserve them. No wonder they left me." And he's like, "I miss my little girl so much. You don't know how much I miss her." and then if you allow him, he'll hug Alice goodbye, and he says good luck to them. And when he held her in his arms, it literally was almost exactly like a memory I had with my dad, because unfortunately I didn't have the best past with my dad. There's a lot of scenes that were very similar, but when he held her in his arms and cried and kind of like with his eyes said how sorry he was, that's literally something that my dad and I experienced, and it really, it was so touching. Even though he was not a well-written character by any means, it just because it was so familiar to me, it really got me.
Yeah.
And I was very impressed.
Yeah. And there again, it would have been way better if she was actually really real.
Right. It's so not as, it just doesn't have the impact that it could have if she was a fucking human.
Yeah, like those skills that you had, imagine how intense it would be if she was actually human.
Right, because she had, I mean, I guess when she says, will we be together forever? I liked the fact that, yeah, okay, we will, but you're never gonna grow up.
Unless you know, unless you end up escaping on the boat and she gets shot.
Right. Or freezes to death in the water. There's so many ways for that little girl to die. I think one of the best worst endings. It's so funny. I'll show a screenshot of it. I made a funny joke. If you're in the 𝐤𝐴𝐺 chapter, and you allow them to kill Alice, Kara will become a hacked android slave, and she'll have those cool black eyes at the end. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
So I made a funny joke on I said I was joking at the end of the comment, but I said, hey, this is actually not that bad, because, you know, she might just be doing mundane tasks and serving him food, but he's not beating her, he's not, you know, he's not tearing her apart or screaming at her, and she doesn't have to take care of that lying little shit anymore. Yay! So thanks, 𝐤𝐴𝐺, for liberating her, or something like that. And then there were some hate comments like, oh, you fucking suck. She's not free. She's a slave. And he's probably going to tear her apart. They were getting so upset. And I'm like, did you not read the bottom of my comment that I was just joking? Calm down, in parentheses. Wow. People are stupid. Okay, so anyway, I think we definitely got to the core of what I think. I mean, if we got any more notes, maybe we can do another one of these.
There's plenty that I personally could rage about, but maybe we could do that another time.
Absolutely, but I had a wonderful... I hope I didn't talk over you too much, Cait.
No, not at all.
Okay. I had a lot of fun, though. Thank you guys so much for this.
Too. Yes, thank you.
And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well, and I know we'll do this again. We got lots more to talk about. We can do... I'd love to talk about Heavy Rain and Beyond as well. A lot of fun.
Like I said, like me and Cait did a Let's Play of Beyond, so that we'd be able to definitely tackle that one. Twice, actually, because first time the recording got messed up.
And I remember trying to start Heavy Rain, but I don't think I finished.
I have all 3 games, but I will link I'll link or put cards on this video too of their Let's Plays, so you guys can check those out if you want to see them play it. And I'm gonna play them too in the future. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
All right, see you guys later.
See ya.
Later, taters. Okay, can we pause for a second?
Go ahead. You can edit it out.
Okay.
This is where she cuts out the audio, cuts out the audio, cuts out the audio. This is where she cuts out the audio, unless she's weird. Oh wait, she is weird.
Okay, there we go.
She heard me.
Oh. I did. Did you say I'm weird?
Yeah, I was just putting in, like, since, like I said, I didn't want to stop recording. I just had to say.
I really didn't.